Chief. Jenks, for fuck's sake. Hey, Chief.
Jenks, tell me what you know first, but this time I've got something to tell you.
Really? Well, what I found out is that Simon was asked by Ryan to test Kate to see if she was good enough to become prime candidate.
Prime what?
Prime candidate. It's the best of the bunch. The best Atlas student. The prime candidate gets an instant job on a fantastic salary as soon as they leave the course.
And how do they work out who's the best of the bunch?
That's what I'm trying to work out.
Well, that's very interesting. I'll tell you what I know, shall I? That name they used to trade under, Third Eye. Turns out they were investigated 3 years ago over an allegation of physical abuse. Torture, Jenks. Witness had puncture marks through both her hands.
And Atlas weren't charged?
There was nothing to charge them with. The witness inflicted the wounds herself. Witness said it was something called threshold testing, whatever that means. Go figure, as they say in America.
Can I ask the Rands about this?
Well, there's no point. They won't tell you anything, and it'll just put them on the defensive. Just keep chipping away at them. Try and find out what this testing involves. That's the best thing. Get something on them, and you'll be in a better position.
Right. Thank you, Chief.
Nearly there, Jenks.
Interesting. Tips? Aha!
Aha. So,
BAM!
students aren't coerced or bribed in any way, except Kate.
I'm not sure what you mean.
You said you were going to give Kate the £500 as an incentive. That's coercion, isn't it?
I really don't think you could call it coercion, Inspector. It was an incentive, that's all, a little encouragement.
So, how often do you use incentives?
Okay, incentive is probably the wrong word. The money was just to see how Kate would respond. It was part of her assessment.
Assessment?
We have to assess students as they progress. We don't use conventional methods like sitting an exam or anything like that. People pay for this course per session. We have to know if they're committed or not.
So you're assessing their progress and testing their commitment?
Yes, we are. We have to. This is a business, not a charity.
So Ryan's claiming the money was part of Kate's assessment. And did this assessment also involve threshold testing, I wonder? Or was the money for something else?
I don't know, dude. I don't know.
Thank you. Probably be back later.
Call the chief for an update? Shit. Alright, let's have a look. Give Kate the money to test and assess her. Oh, yes. Bingo.
Well, which one is it, Ryan? Do you test students or not?
Well, some of them, yes.
Including Kate?
Yes.
Why was she being tested?
She was being tested because we wanted to see if she was good enough to become prime candidate, okay?
So Kate was in the running to be prime candidate?
Yes!
And did you ask Simon to test her?
Yes, I did. But I didn't ask him to do anything stupid. He knew it was against course rules.
How far did you ask him to push her?
I didn't ask him to push her. I asked him to test her. There's a huge difference.
Wow.
If Simon decided to give her too much caffeine or morphine or whatever, that's his responsibility. So if he did anything wrong, it was his own responsibility. He did it with his own mind and his own hand.
Peaking
We
much?
have nothing to do with it.
Midnight. And still no suspect, unless you count everyone I've interviewed. It's no surprise that Ryan wants to avoid any suggestion of being responsible for Kate's death, but I wonder if the man protests just a little too much.
That was intense. Let's talk to the fucking
A
henchman.
few more questions, please. Thank you. Was Kate a prime candidate?
Well, as Ryan has probably already told you, yes, she was.
Did you ask Simon to test her?
Yes, it's company policy. Leaders don't get involved.
And it covers your back, of course.
Well, nobody knows the students better than they do, Inspector. It's much better to let them just work it out among themselves.
It isn't very professional to force students to test each other to the point where one of them gets killed, Paul.
We don't force students to do anything that they don't want to do, Inspector.
So you don't force them into being tested?
No, we don't encourage anybody to hurt or offend anybody else here.
You don't use threshold testing, for instance?
No. If Simon Thompson went too far with Kate, that's his responsibility, not ours. He's the one you should be speaking to, if truth be told. I don't trust him myself.
Interesting.
Be back later on, if that's okay.
Wonder what Paul thinks about prime candidates. Didn't I just ask him? Let's call the fucking chief. Chief! Help!
Hello, Jenks. Yes, I'm still up. Thanks for asking.
Chief Ryan admitted that he asked Simon to test Kate to see if she was good enough to be prime candidate, but he's throwing it all back on Simon. Says it was up to Simon about how he went about testing her.
Very convenient. What does Paul say?
He pretty much backs Ryan up. He claims they don't do any threshold testing.
Well, that's a load of horse droppings. He knows you're onto him, Jenks, which means you're getting somewhere at last. It's only taken you till midnight, but well done nonetheless. Listen, call me back. I'm watching an old movie, but Christopher Lee's only just turned up, so I'll be here for another hour or so, yeah?
Okay, Chief. I'll call again.
Yeah, bye.
Where's Rebecca now? There's like 5 houses in the town. What is the conspiracy
Ask
here?
you a couple more things, please.
Did you know Kate Vine was a prime candidate?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, that's it for now. Thank you.
Simon and Emma. Alright, we'll do Emma first this time, because Simon's going to have a big reveal.
Just a few more questions, if you don't mind.
Do you know whether Kate was in the running to be prime candidate or not?
I don't, but I do think she would have been chosen just because she was, you know, Kate.
You didn't discuss it with Kate?
No. No, she never talked about this.
Alright,
Thank
let's
you.
talk to Simon.
Probably be back later.
Simon.
How do you think you'd have reacted if you'd found out that Kate had been chosen to be prime candidate?
Is that... Was she?
I'm just asking how you think you'd react.
I don't know. I wouldn't react in any way, really. I'm not bothered. I don't think she was, though.
What makes you think that?
Well, it's just an impression I got. You know, she's a bit flaky, to be honest. She's just not really prime candidate material.
Thank you.
you. Probably be back later.
Thank you. Probably be back later. Please not call the chief for an update. Wonder what Paul thinks about prime candidates. I'm sure I've asked him.
Ask about a few more things, please.
Right, Chucky. There's nothing about pain threshold. I don't know why you keep shouting that. Don't use threshold testing. They said they don't use threshold testing. Like, where's his... I don't see where his contradiction is with regards to that. It's not a... CD and the pain threshold. Right, let's have a look. It said Paul. The thing is, the tip is telling me Paul.
That's all for the
Maybe
moment.
tip's
Thank you.
bugged or something. They're encouraged not to hurt each other, but Emma told Liam about his birthmark after they encouraged you. Oh, let's try Ryan. I think the game must be fucked up because it must be Ryan. Interesting. CD in mirror room involved pain thresholding. He said it's not used on course anymore. Right, dude, I get it. But the thing is, if you look at... So here's... Auto-hypnosis. What was it? It has to be Paul's, because he says here, auto-hypnosis not used on the course anymore. But when I go to the Atlas mirror room, his reply was... Mirror room used for meditation. CD mirror in mirror room used on the course. I tried that and it didn't give me anything. I'll try it again, but I'm pretty sure I just clicked that and nothing came up.
Couple more questions, if that's okay.
So it was CD mirror room used on the course, and then what was it under Atlas auto hypnosis? CD and pain. Okay, so let's have a look. They don't use threshold testing. And CD. Shit! What? How are they connected?
You say you don't endorse threshold testing? That's the phrase, isn't it?
Yes.
Except you do, Paul, because you told me that the students use that CD in the mirror room. I've listened to that CD, and it very clearly mentions threshold testing. You keep batting this away, Paul.
Bless
we
you.
don't really use hypnosis. The students aren't really tested, but I am this close to launching a full-scale investigation.
Look, we get a kickback from these students, and they have to be exceptional. Of course we have to test them. That doesn't mean we do anything illegal. What do you think we do? Bump off the ones we don't like?
Well, that depends on how far you push them, doesn't it?
Well, we certainly don't kill them. Nobody here wanted Kate dead.
I'm sure they didn't. But what do you expect, Paul, when you put students under that much pressure?
She was a very, very valuable student. She was worth a lot to the business.
Really? And how much would that be?
But if you really want to know, 50 grand.
She was worth 50 grand.
Yes.
What, you were selling her?
Of course we were selling her. You don't get this, do you? We make perfect employees. Month after month. That's all we do.
What do you mean, perfect employees?
What big business needs, Inspector, more than anything else, is none of this altruistic, goody-goody crap. What we look for is people with ambition, no ethics, push, greed is good, all right? We don't deal with all this comfort stuff. The survival of the fittest. That's all there is. There's no higher purpose, no big plan. There's nothing at the end of the rainbow, except what you have and you can enjoy in the here and now.
And what do you enjoy now, Paul?
You're gonna have to excuse me, Inspector. I'm a very busy man. I've got work to do.
I'll see myself out.
Lovely man, your father.
Shut the gate on your way out.
Do it, Jenksy.
He's doing his level best to shut this place down. Get rid of him.
He's a policeman. We can't just...
You sort this, Ryan. You man up and you sort it. Tonight.
They're gonna kill Jenksy. Are you not worried, Jenks? I did not see how those two things were connected
That doesn't
at all.
sound good. Two totally morally bankrupt men are plotting to get rid of me. It's midnight. I don't have any backup, and I don't even have a mobile
Happy
phone.
birthday,
This is
Pyrion.
potentially quite
Take
bad.
this cash to help
What's
go
Kyle
buy a
got?
creepy
Eris,
concept
shut
person
up!
from Atlas for the mirror room orgies.
Chief.